all-new WMEG Radio.
Fun. We do.
WMEG Radio. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
When truth doesn't matter anymore.
Welcome. It's another week of The Outsiders. I'm your host, Sean Sims. Welcome. It's going to be another busy week. The Outsiders. I'm your host, Sean Sims. It's going to be a busy Banks, my eclectic co-host. Is in the studio. You were out last week. You had the buggers.
But I'm back, baby.
In the studio. She had a little bug or something was going on, but Kim's back this week as my co-host, and in studio,
Dr. Renee Murrell. Yes, from Araminta Freedom Initiative. Woo! I am so excited to have her. Let me tell you, she will be talking to us about human trafficking. It's a subject that is very dear to my heart. I'm really passionate about this, so it's going to be good.
Glad to have you here, Dr. Murrell. Very, very glad to have you here. And she will be sitting in as our special in-studio guest. And Kim will be doing a very poignant, deep segment. I'll be joining in, as I usually do, with Dr. Murrell. But this show, there's been a lot going on this week. It's been a busy week. I'm putting my notes together to do the show, and it's a smorgasbord of events to pick from. Now, this is our show, and I'm saying to myself, what are you going to do this week? Because there's so much going on in the news, Kim. And I guess, first of all, I have to start off with something that's, I guess you would say personal. It's more of an outsider's issue, a Baltimore issue. I guess you would say a news personality issue. Because the Outsiders, we're being followed by people all over Baltimore, by people all over the East Coast and the U.S. So the Outsiders are starting to pick up. We did pick up an award, the Black Wall Street Award. So we're now an award-winning show.
Yes.
And I like that. I like being an award-winning show. I like bringing home the hardware. But there was an incident. I shouldn't say an incident. Brian Newman. Brian's Bozos. Really? The special segment you just came up with? Let's get this straight. Okay, let's get this straight. The Outsiders did a show, our show, last week, and if you go on YouTube, Outsiders WMEG, on YouTube, it has a headline, Politics, a Circus, Mayor of Baltimore, a Clown. Or Baltimore Mayor, a Clown. Clowns in caps. And a few days later, I just happened to be listening to WBAL, Brian Newman and C4. And I hear Brian's Bozos, a new segment you just came up with. Isn't Bozo the most famous clown?
Yes, it is.
Bozo's the most famous clown. And I'm thinking, is that a coincidence?
No.
That our segment played, and we have on YouTube, Outsiders WMEG, the headline, Politics, a Circus, Baltimore Mayor, a Clown, Clown in caps. So, Kim, is that a coincidence that just happened? That Newman just happened to come up with bozos?
No, and we try to be as original as possible.
Often imitated. Listen to this, guys. Often imitated. The lifting keeps going on. This has been going. Often imitated, never duplicated.
That's right.
And they say, imitation is the best form of flattery. So I'm flattered. I'm flattered that, but give us our props. We're coming up with these ideas, and you guys are on a larger venue, WBAL. Yes, you're getting called out. I know you're listening, or you got your studio people or producers listening to somebody. Hey, guys, listen to those outsiders and see if you can come up with something we can use, because they're hot. Yeah, we are hot.
Yes, and if you're going to borrow anything, quotes or anything from someone else, you give them credit for it. There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. So, you know what? I'm going to do the same thing. Hey, well, let's flip the power dynamic. The Outsiders, we're going to have a new segment. And you know what? Gee whiz, I just came up with it. It just popped into my head. The Outsiders Knucklehead of the Week. We're going to do that segment because there's so many to choose from.
Every week.
There's so many knuckleheads to choose from. So we're going to come up. This week we have a couple of contenders for the Knucklehead of the Week. And I'm going to start off with the Lions, the Green Bay Packers. Last Sunday, I actually watched it in real time, and DeAndre Swift is the Lions running back. Okay. Do you follow football, Dr. Murrell?
I do, best I can. Mm-hmm. I'm a Ravens fan.
Good. Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, we really like you now. So I'm watching this game, and this guy, Swift, he's a running back, gets injured on a play, and the medical staff of the Detroit Lions, they come out to look after the guy, make sure everything is okay, make sure he's not hurt too bad. It's just a normal thing that happens in the NFL. And as they're coming out, the team doctor actually is trying to get in there to find out what's going on with DeAndre Swift, and he gets shoved by a Green Bay Packer player, Quay, let me get his name right at least, number 7, Quay Walker. This knucklehead pushes the guy in the back. I'm watching this saying to myself, did that just happen? Then to add insult to injury, now let me let you understand this, okay? Now this is how you tell the story. Those who've told the story before, I'm not going to name names. This is how you tell the story, okay? Quay Walker is number 7. He plays for the Green Bay Packers. He's a linebacker. The man's 6'4", 240 pounds. He shoves you. That's not a normal shove by a normal human being. Let's get that straight. The doctor, now this is the team doctor. You already had the incidents with Damar Hamlin with the cardiac arrest, and the doctor, the medical people coming on the field, saved a man's life on the field. He gets to the hospital, has another cardiac arrest. They save him again twice. So the man actually, I guess technically died twice. So you have a situation with Damar Hamlin, and you would think they would roll out a red carpet for this medical team coming out on the field.
Yes.
For Swift of the Lions.
Right. And
this guy shoves him in the back, and to add insult to injury, you get another guy because the team doctor gets shoved. He turns around after he gets pushed. It looks like the neck could have moved a little bit, a little whiplash. He turns around to look to see who just shoved him. And then this guy looks like something from Shawshank Redemption. Looks like a shank scene. And you get another monster. Now he's Devontae Wyatt. Okay, so you got DeAndre and you got Devontae. So Devontae Wyatt, this guy is 6'3", 304-pound defensive end. He comes behind the team doctor, takes his shoulder, and gives him a little quick, short, shoulder pop. And I'm watching this like, why isn't the NFL fining Devontae Wyatt for that action? And everyone saw it, but I don't know what's going on. Roger Goodell, I really don't. I've never liked Roger Goodell. Don't like Roger. Sorry, Roger. Really don't care for you, the rules that he makes. And here's another stupid knucklehead move, okay, by not calling out Devontae Wyatt, who walks behind the guy and pops him in. Now, this is a man 304 pounds hitting him with the shoulder.
And nobody knows why.
And these knuckleheads, these thugs, clowns, Green Bay, deservedly so, lost the game, and now they're out of the playoffs because of this Quay Walker. But
as they should be. Now, and it sounds like mental illness or somebody under the influence of something. You just walk up and touch somebody for no reason. I know, shove. But the point is, you shouldn't even be making contact with this person in any way.
Exactly. And he's a doctor trying to help someone down on the field. And I don't know what's going on with the NFL. These people must be losing their minds. This is insane. It's crazy. I've been watching football for my whole life. Okay. I have never seen anything like this. And how this Devontae Wyatt could get off the hook with what he did is beyond me. The NFL needs to look into that further, and there needs to be an investigation into that incident. I'm sorry. Okay.
I have a comment. I'm thinking that what the NFL needs and most sports teams need is to have mental health professionals as part of their team. These are young kids.
Oh my God!
Very young kids who have a lot of testosterone going. They get frustrated when the game does not go their way. It's a lot of money on the table, a lot of egos on the table, and they need help managing it.
Yeah, act like
a lot
children.
of them have come from traumatic backgrounds, or something has happened, and I believe, just because I'm a social worker, that every organization needs to have someone looking out and just looking for cues that will say that, the things that they say, their behavior in the locker room, all these things give you some indication that they're a little out of control.
Yes.
Or something is happening.
Something
is seriously happening. And you need to manage that. You need to manage it before it gets out of hand, before they go out in public and do crazy things with drinking and all the other drugs and all the other things that they do. I just can't believe, especially when you have that amount of money thrust at young people so quickly. You went from being hardly making it to being multi-millionaires at 20-something, and all the pressure, all of that comes with it. If you don't have a whole system there to help them manage all of that emotion that they're facing, then I think you will have incidents that happen when the game is on the line, the playoff is there, and they just get high-strung. They don't even know who to take it out on. Somebody at the team's doctor.
The other team's doctor? That's an assault. If that happened on the streets, that would be an assault.
I've always felt like the NFL, the owners, and the powers that be should take better care of their athletes, not just mental health, but how about a financial advisor? Because they, like you said, now you have all of this money. You don't know how to spend it and, how to invest it and, what to do with it. And I think, really, it's not in the best interest to the owners and the powers that be. They're not interested in these athletes as people, as humans. Otherwise, all of this would have been put in place, but they are like cattle, and they're just, they're money makers.
If they're paying them millions, the owners are getting paid how much money?
Exactly.
And they don't care about injuries and all of that. Just as long as you're making that money, it's awful.
Let's go to the second candidate. The second candidate, oh my goodness, did you bring the box?
I did.
Okay. We got the man card box. We have 2 cards that are in the man card box. The one man card that I took, the first one was State Senator Antonio Hayes. I snatched his man card. The second man card that I snatched, deservedly so, was again, oh my goodness, Mayor Brandon Scott. Now, Mayor Brandon Scott, Antonio Hayes is Put that back.
Keep that.
Yeah, keep that in there.
Okay.
Okay, here's Brandon Scott's man card. Now, Brandon, 15% reduction, violent crime, etc., murder, 15% reduction every year. 2 years, that will be a 30% reduction. All the nonsense that's going on. And before I deal with this man card, this for our YouTube audience, before I deal with this man card, we're going to go over, let's talk about the Edmondson Village Shopping Center. That was a tragedy. Shooting, which took place outside of Popeyes. Okay. The mayor is putting the blame on business owners. Here we go. And Kenji Scott, I don't think he's a relationship, but he's any relationship, but he's a community activist, says that it's not the restaurant, but the mayor who ultimately should be held accountable for what happened. And he's saying that since he's ultimately responsible for all this, the people who did this felt they could get away with it. And the reason why they felt they could get away with it is because the mayor, that's you, Brandon, has failed to keep the city safe. Who is responsible for the 15% that he said he would have, a 15% reduction in homicides every year while he's mayor? We haven't seen that. Well, my wife and I were assaulted by a squeegee worker. It wasn't a kid, it wasn't a boy, it was a grown man. You have grown men who have interwoven themselves within the squeegee community, and they're out there harassing people, assaulting people. My wife and I had to deal with one of these knuckleheads, and I blame Mayor Scott. Now, Mayor Scott, we got a situation here. My wife was assaulted because you can't do your job, because you're weak, because people run all over you with the Kmart suits and the kid and play haircut. Now, let me tell you something, okay? I'm going to take your man card. The man's making, what, $200,000 a year? Have you seen these suits?
I try not to really
I do.
look at him that way.
I'm sorry, but I can be a smidge judgmental, okay? Especially when you're doing what you're doing or not doing what you're supposed to do, and that is the first order of business, Brandon, is to protect your citizens. Do you understand that? Has anybody taken you into a room and given you a good talking to? That's the first order of business as the mayor of any city, is to protect your citizens, and you get an F in that, and you got an F from the people who we asked about this grading system for the mayor. Most of them gave you an F. So, because of all of this, I'm going to take this man card and I'm going to tear it up.
Wow.
See, I'm tearing up the man card. It's gone there, Ace.
Wow. It's not even in the box now. It's just torn up.
I threw it on the floor. I'm just tearing it up. Because you are a disgrace as a mayor. You're a disgrace. The running around, the head bobbling. I don't know if it's a neurological issue or what with the head movement. I don't know what's going on there, but I'm just letting you know this, Jack. As a mayor, you have failed. You're failing the community, and now they're talking about punishing the owners. How are you going to punish the owners of a business? I mean, look, here's a situation. You got kids, and they're getting out of school on breaks, or after school, or before school, and for whatever reason, they want to eat chicken. Okay? They want to go to Popeyes or Rita's, which is next door, and they sell the Slurpees and the slushies or whatever, the ices or whatever they sell. And the kids want to have a slushie, a Slurpee, some chicken, whatever. Okay? It's not tobacco, which is restricted. You have to check for ages. And so cigarettes, it's not liquor, alcohol, it's chicken. So now you want to punish the business owners who are trying to make a living. You're already driving them out of the city as it is with your ridiculous high taxes. The people are leaving Baltimore in droves. So let me see. These geniuses came up with an idea. Hey, we know how to make it better. Why don't we fine the businesses even more money than we're fining them? You're raising the taxes on these guys. You're finding them because the kid wants to come over. The kids want to come over during the break or whatever. They're not in charge of the kid. That's the school. Way overpaid superintendent. Way, way, way overpaid. That's the school's responsibility. They're there to make money. So you're gonna. I mean, am I wrong here?
No.
Okay. Let me just interject one more time.
Please do.
Okay.
Please do, Dr.
I gotta tell you.
Okay.
I believe that the mayor has 100% responsibility. He should be accountable. He should hold the kids accountable. But this problem, this underlying problem, is about home. It starts in the home.
You know, my mom was a social worker for 35 years.
And
So
she
I've
would
been
say the same thing.
I've lived with this.
She would
And
say
I
the
agree, a lot of this does start at home.
It starts
Yes, it
at
does.
home.
Mhm.
If we do not begin to peel back the layers and find out why are children shooting, why do they have guns, why do they have this mentality that life does not matter,
Yes.
that I can harm, rob, and
Do whatever, kill.
kill, and there is no consequences, and I don't believe I'm living till 20, so nobody else is going to
Yeah,
live
why
till
not?
20.
Who cares?
But if it doesn't start at home and strengthening families,
Yes.
we have a lost generation of people. So I do believe while the mayor and the police commissioners and the school team, I think we all have a responsibility in this, whether it's education, whether it's occupation, and how do we equip them to even be able to earn not just a wage, but a living wage.
Yes.
And not just because someone's going to give them a job, but that they will earn a job and feel proud of the job. But that really does start at home. So what are we going to do with the parents? Who's going to hold the parents responsible?
The parents
right.
should be held responsible. I agree with you, Dr. Murrell. They should be. I heard someone mention something about nursing. Yes.
I want to say something.
Nicole, chime in. Nicole's going to chime in. She's our engineer for today.
Yes, so I actually talked about this on my show last week,
Uh-huh.
and we had someone from the Emerson Village community that was on there.
Okay.
Okay.
The purpose of them finding the establishment, because really by law, the kids should not be in any type of establishment between school hours.
Okay.
So that was part of why they wanted to find the establishment, because if they're letting the kids in where they're not supposed to be in there, that's really on them. I remember, because I went to Western, and I think we had Roy Rogers or something across the street from the school, and we were not allowed in there until after school hours. So
There are kids going in before school hours and after school hours, and they want to hold them accountable for that as well.
Right, but this happened during around 11 o'clock. Them kids should not have been over there. So what the young lady from the association said, that because they allow them in the facility, they should be fined, which makes it less desirable for them to go over there.
Okay,
Because
I understand that.
So if you are not supposed to be there and they let you in there and then something happens, then yes, that's a two-way.
How do they know that they are from that school? I mean, do they card them? Do they hold a card where they have to say, look, this is what the school comes up with? Because I understand what you're saying. Okay, so the school, the superintendent, should have a system set up where the business owner, because the business owner is not, you're not spending all your time checking out students. Do they have an ID that says, I am a student? This is a student ID. Or if a kid's over 17 years of age, 18, 19, you can't tell the age difference. So you're supposed to be policing the students coming in. No, the school is supposed to be policing these kids as well.
She said was that
As well.
on the school as well.
Yes, it is.
It's the establishment also. Because if you're not supposed to be there...
How do you know the age of the kid? What if the kid's 18 years old? And so if they're 18 years of age and they're not a student, let's say they're 17 and not a student.
That you realize are not...
But so you have to come.
Most of them children do have cards.
They have cards. So they have, like they're getting tobacco and liquor
You
gotta have a card to buy chicken.
to buy chicken.
Yes.
So now you during school hours.
Chicken or school
hours.
Well, I have a problem with that law.
You ain't supposed to be buying chicken.
Well, how else would you go about
You know what? I have a problem with that law.
Before and after you can, but during school, that's not how it's
But again, that's because it's a law. I'm saying, I understand it's the law, but I have a problem with the way the law is written. And my law professor, Professor Limas at Coppin State, business law, I remember the first words he said to me during class, not me, but the whole class. The law and right and wrong have nothing to do with each other. So you have laws that don't make sense. So they need to change the law. You need to get these people, you got these Einsteins, you need to sit down and come up with something, because you have people that are coming in, they might be 20 years old, but when I was 20 years old, I looked like I was 15. So what are they going to do, card me? I'm 20 years old. Hey, you look like you might be, because you're getting chicken, and there's a law that says that I have to make sure that anybody coming in who's a student, so now you got to police everybody coming in and their age and the car. You're trying to run a business when you're trying to make money and you're trying to do that. That law needs to be changed, but...
What about more security, more officers
I was just thinking maybe the shopping center should have security.
Well, I tell you,
that can help those businesses.
You know what we're going to do to outsiders? We're going to give you, okay, the mayor's office, Christopher Burnett. Hey, Christopher, listen up. Now, if you want some good ideas, why don't you get in touch with the outsiders? And we might be able to help you folk come up with some good ideas, because we're some pretty intelligent people here. Between Kim and myself, we got a lot of brain power and a lot of experience. So why don't your office, Councilman, District 8, is it? Why don't you give us a call, and we can help you come up with something, and help the councilman and the council people come up with something that would make sense. Because right now, I understand what you're saying, Nicole. They have to go by the law, and I do understand that. But right now, the law doesn't make sense the way you're doing it, and there's no way the businesses are going to be able to police your kids that are coming in. So let's swing around to the next story. And by the way, the knucklehead of the week, drum roll. Hey, Nicole, can you pull up a drum roll? Knucklehead. That's okay. The knucklehead. Manually, huh? The knucklehead of the week between the two is I have been on Mayor Scott. I think I made my point by tearing up his man card. So I'm going to give this knucklehead of the week to Quay Walker of the Green Bay Packers. You, Quay Walker, are the knucklehead of the week. So let's move on to our next subject matter. And these people, this is just real quick. I just wanted to throw this in. For some reason, in Baltimore, I don't know if this goes on in other cities, because I'm going to ask around. I know people all over the country, and I'm going to call them up and find out if this goes on in their city. But for some reason, people like to use the term former candidate, or ran for mayor, or ran for this office or that office, or ran for governor, or former gubernatorial candidate, as like a moniker, like to give them credibility. Mm-hmm. And Kim, you ran for
clerk of the
circuit court for Baltimore City. Do you put that on cards? Is that your moniker?
No, it's an experience I'm grateful for. I didn't win. I wasn't successful, but it's an experience I will always cherish. However, that is not who I am, a former candidate.
I mean, we don't ever really use that moniker. Well, Kim Banks, my co-host, who is the former candidate for clerk of the court for Baltimore City, I mean, we don't use that moniker. And another thing, even though I believe professionally and personally, being your campaign advisor, I believe that you won and there was funny business going on. And yes, I had really good reason to believe that. But these other folk are using it. What you're saying is, when you use moniker, former this, ran for mayor, former candidate for mayor, is you're a loser. That's what you're saying. You're saying, I am a loser.
And
I'm going to let everybody know
that you're stuck in that place.
And you're stuck, and that's
who you are. And that's not who you are.
That's
you
your,
know,
that's your claim to fame?
Yeah, what do you want to do with yourself next?
You ran for, you know what I'm going to do? I live in Baltimore County. So the next election, I'm going to run for Baltimore County Executive, and I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to, run. And of course, I'm not going to win because I'm not going to do anything. And then from there on out, I can just simply say, I'm Sean Sims, former candidate for Baltimore County Executive. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's just, it's stupid. Stop it. It's stupid. You sound stupid when you do
sense.
it.
Yeah.
If you were former, like State Senator Barbara Robinson, well, okay, she was a state senator. So you can say former state senator or former president of the United States or former governor, okay, which is what Larry Hogan will be soon enough. And Larry, you don't have a chance to get a Republican nomination. I'm just going to repeat that. But I just wanted to throw that in. You sound ridiculous. You people, you know who you are. Stop using it, okay? But keep using it if you want to. You sound stupid. What about all these cardiac, to get off a subject, what about these cardiac arrests that have been going on? You had Damar Hamlin and Lisa Marie Presley. 54, condolences to Priscilla Presley, the Presley family, Elvis Presley's daughter. She passed away, cardiac arrest. And it's a sad situation. There seems to be a lot of strokes and cardiac arrests that are going on. I don't know what's going on with that. I just wanted to throw that in because I just the outsiders wanted to give condolences to Lisa Marie Presley, the family, and Priscilla Presley. That's just me. I was an Elvis fan. I don't care what anybody thinks. I liked Elvis, and I was an Elvis fan. But I just wanted to throw that.
I think we all just have such a high level of stress right now.
You think that's
stress,
what it is?
life, we need to make some lifestyle changes, some changes in our diet. All of that affects cardiac arrest. So,
well, people, take care of yourself. Eat well, exercise, take care of yourself. And we're going to run over this. I have to mention this. Like I said, this week was full of news, and I have to mention what happened. The Corvette Gate. That's what I'm going to call it. Corvette Gate. Classified documents by Joe Biden. Oh, here we go again, Joe Biden. It's maybe Christmas. Classified documents in your garage with your. Let me just go ahead, and I've got to do this manually. Play this clip of what's been going on.
Some classified material had turned up when they were cleaning out the offices of Joe Biden's bogus vice presidential think tank. I'll leave it to you to contemplate all the incredible scholarship that would have come out of that joint. But then, things quickly got worse. And guess what? They're not getting any better. It was revealed yesterday that a second batch of documents was found at what the New York Times gingerly described as, quote, a second location associated with Mr. Biden. And what, pray tell, might that other second location have been?
Classified material next to your Corvette. What were you thinking?
I'm going to get a chance to speak on all this, God willing, soon. But as I said earlier this week, people, by the way, my Corvette's in a locked garage. Okay, so it's not like it's sitting out in the street.
Okay, really? Really? Your Corvette's in a locked garage. The vice president, at the time, Joe Biden was the vice president. The vice president doesn't have power to declassify classified documents. There's a process. Trump, they're discussing and arguing how Trump declassified the documents, which he said he did. So that's a discussion, and they're doing an investigation for that. But the president does have power to declassify. It's a process you have to go through. Biden, on the other hand, was vice president. He should not have had those documents at all. He does not have power to declassify, only the president. There's a situation there. So,
yeah, whether the facility is locked or not.
I mean,
it should not be there.
As a former, can I say former, Sean?
Well, this is different because you actually were in that
I did
position.
work for the FBI, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I can say that. Then.
Yes, you can say that.
As a former employee for the FBI, I think the conversation needs to be, we get extensive training on handling of classified and material. So I think our elected officials do not get that same level of intensive education and training on. It's obvious that their team and that the higher ups who are looking at documents all the time don't seem to understand the levels, and also don't understand how to properly secure classified documents. It's obvious. This may not just be these two.
Or they understand and just don't care.
I would rather
don't take it
say
seriously.
that it is very complicated, but it's something you can't afford not to learn. So I think that what we need, or what is needed, is proper intensive training from top to bottom.
Yes.
Because lower level people like me got this. We got this. And they need to have an education on, because they are handling sensitive information, on how to handle it. And I don't care if it's Republican or Democrat, they all need to
exactly
have this kind of extensive training
right.
on the handling of classified information.
But really, I mean, Dr. Murrell, your garage next to your Corvette. You know what, Kim, what I'm going to do? I'm going to get my really, really important documents, and I'm going to put them in the Camaro. I'm going to put them in the Camaro and put them in the shed next to my Camaro. That's what it's ridiculous. And speaking of keeping documentation, or speaking of just simply making sure that things are done correctly, Dr. Murrell, with this border going on, and because I'm going to segue the border and sex trafficking and what you do, the connection. Kim, I'm going to let you take it from here. What's going on with the sex trafficking? There's a ton of it has just skyrocketed since Biden has gotten in that border. People are going through there, and the sex trafficking has increased immensely.
Let me just say that there are different. People throw out the terms human trafficking, sex trafficking, and smuggling,
white slavery,
and white, as if it's all the same. It is not.
Yeah.
And so I think definitions need to be clear. But before we go further, I just want to give a little kudos to Christopher Burnett. I know you brought up his name, and he is doing a magnificent job. And I must say this. As
of course, give the kudos.
As the co-chair of the Baltimore City Human Trafficking Collaborative, he is the co-chair and is involved on the ground, not just sending people, but he is involved. But getting back to what trafficking is, human trafficking, is a crime against the person. It is the selling and buying of people. Smuggling is a crime against the country. So sometimes you may have both, but people just seem to think, what is true is that anytime you have vulnerable people, you have the susceptibility to having human trafficking or any type of victimization.
Yes.
So you have these people coming in from the southern border, from the northern border. You have people coming from West Baltimore to East Baltimore, any place. And if they are not getting their needs met, or because of the violence in their country, because of poverty, because of things that are happening in their home, I mean, there are, because of discrimination, because of sexual orientation, and they get put out of their home. Whenever you do not have your needs met, it makes you vulnerable.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it makes you feel desperate.
It makes you feel desperate.
Yes.
So if you are at the southern border and your country is involved in corruption, the government, or if you are feeling as if your children have to be part of a gang because the cartels are so prevalent.
That happens. It's prevalent.
Yes, prevalent. And prevalent, some may say even here. But if it's prevalent and you're trying to escape it, what would I do to keep my child safe? Almost anything.
Yes.
So I'm going to pay somebody, or I'm going to try to make that trip to the U.S. because everybody, and I've been around the world a couple of times, believe that the U.S. is the place to go for freedom, to get that American dream. And if you believe that you can get just a glimmer of that dream, you will do almost anything. So they are being, sometimes coyotes are taking money to get them in here. But when they come into the States, somebody is maybe saying to them, okay, you're here illegally, and if you don't do this, which could mean labor trafficking or sex trafficking. I'm going to get on the phone and call up HSI, Homeland Security, and we're gonna have you deported. And so they will do whatever they have to do
to stay.
in order to stay.
Yes.
And that is because of vulnerability at the border. So those are the kind of things that are happening, not just smuggling, but the combination of smuggling and human trafficking. So even if it's not sex trafficking, it could be labor trafficking. You got to work.
There's a difference between human trafficking and sex trafficking.
It is. It's a difference between labor trafficking. It is force and fraud or coercion, which are the three elements that we use a lot. Force, fraud, or coercion is used to get someone to trade either forced labor or sex for something of value. It does not always have to be money. It could be a place to stay.
Yes.
It could be drugs.
There's something traded.
Something traded.
Value doesn't have to be money.
It doesn't have to be money. So that is what's happening. A lot of people talk about international foreign nationals coming in, but let me just say this because I have to.
Okay.
What I see more is trafficking of U.S. citizens in their own neighborhoods. So let me just tell you, while we think it is an international thing, this is U.S. what we call domestic minor sex trafficking, the trafficking of minors. Why? Because minors are going to go under the age of 18, can be sold for more than somebody
higher value.
So the value, this is all about economics and supply and demand. So a young child, the younger, the better.
Because we have a high level of pedophiles.
The high level of pedophiles.
It's just ridiculous.
I'm not sure why so we are talking about traffickers, but we're also talking about this culture of people who want to buy children. And that's not about sex. It's nothing.
It's about
enjoyable.
power.
It is all about power. It can't be anything enjoyable about having sex with someone who is so young, who is not capable of enjoying it and giving you pleasure. It's all about pleasure.
I've heard, because I have friends in different places, and FBI as well, police department, and I've heard that on the dark web, let's call it the dark web. They pull up these videos, and there's certain folks, very, very high level people, let's put it this way, the highest level
the
people.
Epstein, the Epstein level, high level.
Yeah, okay, Pizzagate and all that. I'm quite aware of what went on. And these people are seasoned officers, veterans, hardcore people. They've seen it all. They'll leave the room crying because of what they see on the video.
I've made it my, personally, I don't see the videos. I just said I don't need
it. It would be traumatizing.
It would be traumatizing. But we do have agents who do nothing but work these, what we now call, it used to be child pornography. The new term is child sexual abuse material. And that is, oh my goodness, the kind of, it's like obsession. That is the level of when you go into someone's home who may have been a sex offender, and you know they have to do these raids on their computers. They can't live so long, and then they go on and have to do checks on their computers, or people that we find tips who may be involved in it. It's usually hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pornographic images of
children
people, and
all kinds of acts.
Trade them. And so we consider all of that to be victimization, even the trading. So not only is production a federal crime, but distribution and even possession is a federal crime. It's a felony to even possess. So when children, and I want to make this clear for all the young people out there who may be taking pictures of themselves, inappropriate pictures of themselves, and then sharing it with your boyfriend, and he's 18 but you are 16, and then you get into revenge stuff, and you're no longer with him, and he trades it, he sells it to other people. All of that is too much. Once it's on the internet, it is on the internet forever. However, we do have some avenues to try to get it off. So NCMEC, which is National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, has a good program in which they can help a victim if you have anything on any child abuse, sexual abuse material that is on the internet and you need to have it taken off. Call the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.
Oh, that's good information.
It won't guarantee that it will stay because anybody can put anything in their file and then resurface it.
Yes.
But they can take it off to have some authority to be able to. So that is good information because that is torment to see that your material is on, your images are on the internet and you feel helpless about how to get it off.
Yes.
So that is a good, the NCMEC is they used to have the milk cartons where they used to put missing
yes.
Well, they do a whole, it's like a well-kept secret, but they are extremely helpful in helping out with missing kids and also child abuse material. The sex trafficking is something that, and particularly minor sex trafficking is something that I do at Araminta, which is the nonprofit that I work for now after I left the FBI. And I can tell you, after working with youth personally.
And what is your position? What's your title there at Araminta?
I am the Director of Community Engagement. So I go out and my job is to make the public aware of this is a crime, what it looks like, what it is, to define it, to help us to wrap our heads around it, to figure out what's really behind it. How do we stop it? And also to provide services to those who may have found themselves caught up in it. So we're trying to look at it from a holistic point of view. Prevention, education, restorative care for those. But we're not just talking about restorative care that's going to keep a survivor from going back into the game. I'm talking about life change. I'm talking about because their self-worth, trauma.
Oh my God. Yes.
And they don't feel like they can do almost anything else. I'm talking about helping them to empower them to see this as something that happened to them but does not define them. And that part can be very hard, especially if we're talking the trafficking happened when you were a child.
Exactly. And there are memory of it.
And it is so much that has happened. So you are hardened by the time you're 25. And then you haven't been in school, perhaps. You haven't developed any other skills, so you feel like you're hopeless. And how do we bring hope back to them? And that is what the trauma-informed care is all about. It is really about walking with them through it. It could take years. And this is the investment that I believe Araminta and so many other organizations in the community.
It's like gutting out a house. They actually have to gut their insides out. Clean out all of that negative energy and...
It's a slow process.
Yes.
It is an investment in their future, in their lives. But if we really care about our kids the way we say we do, and if we really want to invest in them, then it starts with just walking beside. Not really, and this is the beauty of Araminta. We're not here to substitute ourselves for the pimp. Like, I'm going to tell you what to do. I'm going to tell you how to do it. I'm going to tell you everything, because that's not empowerment. Empowerment comes from within. And so we're trying to help them
find their way. In
it. And that part is not about always giving and handing out and charity. It's about teaching them, and sometimes it's tough love. So it's not like,
it's not going to be cupcake, though.
You are a victim, let me help you, let me give you everything you need. It's like, it happened, you're bigger than that. You got so much strength. The fact that you survived shows me you got grit. The fact that you're still here. Because you could have been in, they used to say St. Elizabeth, but where do we go now? Where's the mental health place?
Shepherd Pratt.
Shepherd Pratt. You could be there. Or you could be on the streets homeless trying to find yourself. Instead, you are still fighting now. You may be fighting too much. And often I said, you're working way too hard for the money. I said, so let's help you try. And that just takes them coming around to believing that they can.
Do you assist with housing?
We provide supportive housing. We help them to integrate into the housing market. Housing is by far the biggest challenge, not just for human trafficking. I'm talking about from everybody. Housing is. But let me tell you, we have in our strategy we are working on getting a sanctuary, which we're calling a survivor sanctuary.
Okay.
Because I believe that people, when they're struggling, sometimes even if it's not residential or long term, they may just need a place to sit for a while.
Yes.
Just to catch my breath.
Yes.
I need a place where I can just get a bath, get some food. I need a safe place where nobody's talking to me too much about anything. Because I just need to get myself focused right now.
Yeah, because the average everyday person needs that.
Don't we need that?
Yeah, so I can imagine.
Don't
But
we need
oh my
just to
God,
sit
yes.
down and gather yourself and have someone who's not giving you so much demands. Okay, I want to get you into a program. I want to do this. We want to see what you can do. You just want to sit back and
You got to sit in your mess and figure it out.
I have a question. Now, I did a little research. Now, the name, Araminta was Harriet Tubman's name. Araminta Ross, that was her birth name. So your organization, like Harriet Tubman, is Underground Railroad, where she was getting slaves out of slavery, your organization is pretty much doing the same thing with those who are in issues with the sex trafficking, human smuggling, and so on, to get them out of that?
It is exactly. We stand on the shoulders of Harriet Tubman, who was all about freedom. And this is deeper than just, we consider human trafficking to be modern day slavery. But it is really about freedom from the bondage that you have within. And that part is even harder to do sometimes, because I believe, particularly for this generation, it is so hard for them to find their way. And so it is about setting them free of the noise that's telling them you're not good enough. It's telling them that you got to have 5,000 likes in order to be somebody.
Yes.
It's about something who's telling you that the only worth you have is shaking your groove thing on TikTok and trying to see how many people can tell you that you look so good, baby, you look so good, you can do this. It is about finding self-worth in knowing that you have so much to offer. So our freedom really starts with trying to reach them at a different level. I think we do need to address youth very young and to get them there. But Araminta is our name. We stand on the shoulders of...
So was Harriet Tubman in mind when the name was created? Okay.
That is exactly why we chose that as our name, because we feel as though we... our inspiration is about someone who did not even have an education. And this is what we're trying to say. It doesn't take a lot of money. She had no money.
She was a slave.
She was a slave.
Yeah.
She didn't have education.
On the Eastern Shore of Maryland.
She didn't have much. So our mantra is also that everyone can do something.
Yes.
It doesn't matter about who you are or what your background is or whether or not you have money or not. It is about if you have the heart and soul to make a change and to make a change in people's lives. And I think the biggest myth that people have is this is just about marginalized people. This is about poor people, people who don't have money, maybe people of color. And this, let me say, having been there as a former FBI victim specialist, is that I've seen it in every social economic status that you can think about. It is prevalent in every county in Maryland. And it does not matter whether it's urban or rural. It doesn't matter what color you are. None of that. This is about economics. If they want a white girl, a Chinese girl, they will try to find one. If the buyer wants that, then they want to try to get that for you.
Exactly.
And so
supply and demand.
It's about insecurity, the insecurity of the person, and it's about them being exposed to these people. Yeah,
and
being vulnerable.
Just say, just like we have, it mirrors domestic violence a lot. And you think that people who are rich don't get beat?
Right.
Type of abuse happens with people with money.
And so about their intimate partner or by somebody else, it happens. So why would this not happen in other neighborhoods too, or for those who have it? And I think, to that fact, I think people who have money or who have the clout, they find it even harder to believe that this could happen to you. So they don't know who to reach out with. The shame is so big. because
Yes.
they're thinking it shouldn't have happened to me. I heard about this happening in
Yes.
Baltimore City, maybe in lower income and poverty-stricken neighborhoods.
And it's all about
It's
appearances.
about appearances. They don't want it to believe that
Yep.
it's happening to my child, who you can give your child all of the stuff. They got iPads, they got everything, very young. But if they still have a need and don't feel loved, then anybody can come in and take them.
Now, before we run out of time,
Sure.
tell us, how can we volunteer to assist?
Good question. I am the director of community engagement, and one of the first ways that you can do that, I am having a virtual training. We do one every month.
Okay.
And we're having one on the 19th. Go on to aramintausa.org.
Okay.
And under events and training,
Okay.
you register for the training. It is virtual. It is about an hour and 15 minutes. I will be.
Is there a cost?
There is no cost.
Okay.
Okay.
And this will give you some introduction to it. If you can also go on our website, aramintausa.org, if you are in need of help.
Yes.
I want you to go on there, and there's a referral sheet in which you can find out information about how you can get some help.
All right, let me repeat that again. That's Araminta, ARAMINTA, USA.
USA.org.
.org. Okay, so if anyone out there who's listening, YouTube folk who will be viewing the show, that's where you can go to get help. Araminta, ARAMINTA, USA.org to volunteer or to get help.
And training is on the 19th of this month.
On the 19th of this month,
Okay.
and I will walk you through the process. I do want you to know that Polaris Project has a national human trafficking hotline, and this is all over the country, and that number is 888-373-7888, and this number is something that you really want to call.
Could you repeat the number one more time?
888-373-7888.
Fantastic. This was a good one. I like the show, and it was a pleasure to have you here.
Yes.
Dr. Renee Murrell of Araminta Freedom from Sex Trafficking, and the Outsiders. Thanks for listening, our viewers. We will see from you, hear from you, talk to you next week.
Saturday.
God bless. Take care.
Good. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.